everyone. Welcome to our morning of mindfulness. Wonderful to see so many of you here so early as well, so that's really encouraging for us. We have an incredible track for you all morning. I hope you'll stay for as many of the sessions as you can. We're going to try and get through them as quickly as we can after we've started our meditation just shortly. My name is Kathleen Saxton. I'm actually one of the co-founders and producers of Advertising Week Europe. I'm also the founder of the Lighthouse Company, a headhunting firm. And actually last year, about 18 months ago, I co-founded a business called Psyched with the psychotherapist Ben McKee, who you're going to hear from a little bit later on, really looking at how we can really help and guide and support the leaders within the media and advertising industry and beyond in thinking about, in this fast, disruptive, challenging world, how do we support ourselves, how do we have a duty of care to ourselves and those that we lead, in ensuring that in the demands we're making on ourselves and each other, that we're looking after ourselves and each other during that process. And what does that mean and what does that look like? I think looking after ourselves has never been more paramount. And it has to start with you. It has to start with who we are as individuals, who we are as leaders, who we are as, brothers, sisters, wives, husbands, partners, daughters, etc. We are many things to many people in this world. So we have to look after ourselves. So just before we start it, I'm just going to give you 6 or 7 charts to set the scene. They're not happy or pretty charts, but it kind of sets the scene, and then obviously we'll go into a meditation where I'm going to encourage you to shut your eyes or lower your gaze, and we're going to go through what we call a guided visualization. For those of you that obviously meditate regularly, you'll understand a bit more about it. Those that don't or struggle to, and I'm certainly someone who struggles to myself, often a guided visualization gives you a story on which to follow to help what we call our monkey mind to calm down. If you've got 75 things going round in your mind right now, I'm going to try and take you to a place where you can concentrate on a story. But before we start that, a couple of miserable stats. Stress has now been declared as the health epidemic of the 21st century. We are all suffering stress in some form or another. 1 in 4 of us will experience a mental health problem each and every year. I'm sure if it's not you, then there'll be somebody that you know who struggles in this particular area. And how do we cope with that? How do we work with that? Lots of businesses are obviously using mental health first aiders that are coming in. So Karma Armour, for example, have 16 that they've trained in making sure that we can now start to recognise in each other when maybe we need some support and some help. 350 million people worldwide suffer from depression at some point in their lives. That's obviously a lot of people. And there's a big link towards our working conditions. So if you're working more than an 11-hour day, and I know in the advertising space, many of us are, if you're pitching, if you're preparing, if you're flying, all the things that we have to do in our industry, it's highly linked to, doubles the risk of having a depressive episode. 10% of managers work a 15-month year. How can that be? I've got my maths A level. Well, actually, if you're working regular weekends, if you're working till 10 o'clock at night, if you're working overnight, often on flights and those kinds of things, if you add that up, it's knocking out your entire holiday allowance. It's knocking out the time that you should be really thinking and recreating what's going on in your mind. So when we've done our research in the past, it's quite horrific when we see the kind of hours that we are expected to or expecting ourselves to work. And they're saying that workplace stress now, I think Harvard and Stanford did a piece of research 18 months ago to say it's as harmful for us as secondhand smoke, and how much do we try and avoid that in our lives already. 800,000 people commit suicide every single year, and for every single person that's sadly successful, 20 more have attempted it. So it is something that we have to be aware of, particularly for men. It's growing for men. We're doing lots of work right now in the industry for women, and so we should be, but we have to look after our men too. £7.2 billion is the annual cost of stress to the economy, in sick pay, in medication, in therapy, in various other things too. And so it's about taking care of the whole self. At Psyched, we talk a lot about taking care of the whole self, and I think that a combination of Roger, who's going to talk after me, and Ben and Robin and various people that are going to talk this morning, we're trying to think about the physical body, the mental body, our whole self, spiritual, physical, mental, emotional. We have to be thinking about all these parts of ourselves. And I'm sure if you look at that diagram, I'm sure there's parts that you're very familiar with. I think Ariana Huffington and sleep, she's really made us think about our sleep patterns, and nutrition's been with us for a while, physical health has been with us for quite some time. Are you really addressing the other parts of what's going on spiritually and with your psychotherapy side of things as well? So something for you to think about. The reason why we're going to start with a meditation this morning, and some of you will certainly know this, is thinking about the central nervous system. So when we are relaxed, I hope many of you are sitting here feeling relatively relaxed right now, having come off the tube or whatever it is you've done. Our parasympathetic nervous system is in play. We are relaxed, we're at rest, our body is able to function in the way that it's really designed and meant to. But the minute we step into a situation where we're speaking publicly, or we're in a presentation at work, or we're being addressed by our partner in rather an aggressive way, whatever it may be, it triggers our sympathetic nervous system. And what happens with that is it triggers all sorts of chemicals in the body and our flight and fight response, which I'm sure many of you are aware of. And what's happening in this society is we're living far too much in that state, and it's very difficult to bring ourselves back to the parasympathetic nervous system state that we're meant to be in. So the meditation I'm about to do, I hope will get you into that state so you can enjoy the rest of the track in a place that's relaxed and gentle for your own body as well. I'm going to sit down and do it with you. And I would love you to think about, if we can put up, there's a visual, I think, of a waterfall, so if you can put that up at the back, that would be great. What I'd love you to do, if you can, if you're happy to shut your eyes, that would be incredibly helpful. If you'd rather just lower your gaze, that's absolutely fine too. If you just want to stay looking at the waterfall, you can, but you might want to go to the toilet after you've seen that for 10 minutes, so let's see. But let's see how we do. So what I'd love you to do is to take three big deep breaths in. Our breathing is a fantastic way to start activating, calming down the central nervous system. Long breaths, longer than normal, in through the nose and then out through the mouth. We call it the earth breath in psychotherapy. So in through the nose. And out through the mouth, just longer than normal. Try and hold it longer and let it go a bit longer. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Notice your body in the chair. Feel the support of the base of the chair on your bottom. Feel the back being supported by the back of the chair. There's noise in the room and you can notice that, but try and turn your attention inwards. Even if you can try and locate your heartbeat. Stay with the breath, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And allow your body to just start to relax. There is nothing expected of you. You can just be here with your breathing. Allow your body to settle down. And as you start to just focus inwards, I'd like you to start to imagine that you are an apple on a tree. It could be somewhere that's familiar to you, it could be just an image that's come to you. Imagine that you are just an apple on a tree. Try and picture what kind of apple, what colour are you? What size of apple are you? How old might you be as an apple? What do you notice around you on this tree? Are there other apples near you? Are you on the edge of the tree? The top or bottom of the tree? Is it crowded on that tree? Or is it just you? See if you can imagine the weather. What's the sky like above you? What colours do you see? Is there a breeze? Is there sunlight? Is it cloudy? Notice how you feel being here on this tree. If you notice your mind wander, that's okay. Try and bring yourself back to being on this tree. And in the distance, you notice a vehicle. And you realise this vehicle is driving towards where this tree may be. As it becomes closer, you begin to see there's someone driving this vehicle. Are they male? Are they female? Do you recognise them? Are they somebody new to you? And as this vehicle becomes closer to you, how do you feel? Notice what you feel. The vehicle comes to a stop, and the person gets out of the vehicle and comes towards the tree. And you realise that that individual has come to get you, has come to pick you. How does that feel? What do you notice? Do you yield easily? Do you need to be tugged? And as you're collected from the tree, notice how it feels to leave the tree. They put you into some kind of a container, see what you can imagine. And they put you into the vehicle. What's it like to be in that vehicle, in that container? Is it squashed and tight, or is it just you? And the vehicle moves and begins to travel. Notice this journey. Is it fast? Is it bumpy? Is it serene? What's it like to be travelling? And after some time, you're aware that you're now reaching a town. And as you enter the town, the vehicle gets parked and you are collected out of the vehicle. You notice it's a market town. There is a big, wide, vast public market. And you are taken to a big table, a big tablecloth. What do you notice? And you realise that you're there to be displayed and to maybe be sold. How are you displayed? Are you at the front? Are you at the back? Are you wanting to be noticed, or maybe not? What does it feel like to be on that table? And after a while, people come and go, and then somebody arrives and they decide that you are the apple that they will choose. What's it like to be chosen? What do you see in this person? What do you notice about this person? You're put into a bag. Is it just you? Are you with others? What does that feel like? And you're taken home to wherever this person lives. You can imagine the house, the place. Maybe you wonder what might happen. Notice how that feels for you. And then you decide, what does happen? What do they want to do with this apple? Take your time to imagine what happens next? Notice how you feel about what happens next. Think about all parts, the core, the skin, the flesh. What needs to happen? And then when you're ready, start to take 3 really long breaths in again, through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you breathe those breaths, just slowly bring your attention back to your body in the chair, back to my voice in the room. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. I've never had such silence in a room at Advertising Week Europe. You've done amazingly well. I'm going to introduce you to Roger in a second, but before I do, I'll just give you a clue, and some of you can come and speak to me afterwards if you like about what might have been going on for you. I hope that your bodies are certainly feeling calm. Broadly, the apple, we would say, is about how you feel about you. Was it just you? What was it like to be with others on the tree if you were? And you can translate that many ways. And the tree, again, with other apples and the person approaching, is how we tend to relate. Was it a happy thing? Was it a worrying thing? Did you feel shy? Did you feel extroverted? What was happening in your willingness to relate to others around that? The being displayed, of course, is about the external mask. You know, how do we show ourselves? How do we like to be displayed, or indeed not displayed? What's our relation to how we're seen in the world? The journey, which is missed off there, so the travelling in the car and what kind of vehicle you were in, etc., is often about the journey of your life so far. What has it been like? When I first did this exercise, and I do it with a lovely lady in my life called Delilah, who's my partner's daughter, you know, it's about what's it like, what's that road like, bumpy, dusty, fun, fast, exciting, often tells us something about how we view the journey we've had so far in our lives. Being chosen. You know, what does that feel like for you? And considering internally for you, what does that bring up for you as an emotional feeling? So connecting into that too. And finally, what happened? You know, were you put in an apple pie? Were you displayed? Were you left to rot on the side? Were you left pristine forever, like a porcelain doll? All of these things can sort of connect to our existential belief about life and death. They can connect into what we think our purpose might be in life and what we're doing here. So I'll leave you to reflect on that. And if you want to come and ask me a bit later about what you saw, then by all means do.